on the roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Go. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. We rollin'!
Covering MMA from all over the world, this is the premier stop for all your combat sports needs. MMA Junkie Radio, the only show broadcasting live from the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. The lights are on and the mics are hot. It's time to get your MMA fix, junkies. Take it away, Big John.
Gorgeous George and Goes, are you ready? Junkie Nation, are you ready? Well, let's get it on.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, our ace co-host, back east, producing Jumbo Josh. What's up?
What up, Holmes?
Not much, man. Happy Tuesday, April 23rd, to all of yous. Spring is upon us. I can't believe that April's almost done. Do you remember, Goes, earlier in the year when I said, wow, January is like the longest month ever?
Yeah, it's weird.
We went right through February. March is 31 days. Kind of went through that one, too. And here we are, man. I mean, like, has everyone accomplished their New Year's resolutions? Did everyone stick to their Lent that ended this past Sunday? Holy cow. Are you in summer shape?
Hell no.
I think I'm 0 for 3 on all those.
0 for 3?
Yeah, on everything I just said.
What'd you give it for
But
lunch?
regardless, yeah, it's April 23rd, and we are just blasting through 2019. I gave up a bunch of things that I gave out like 6 things. And my friend Woody put it best. He goes, dude, that's a lot. And I held strong for about a week. And then of those 6 Goes, 4 were the biggest, like, I believe, not accidents, just I wasn't thinking. And I honestly probably could have pushed most of those pretty well, off into the second week, the third week to see however long I last. Like red meat, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Beer was another one. And it's as simple as when I'm here at Mandalay Bay and the waitress says, what do you want? And I think I was thinking, do I get a Gozy or a Jack and Coke? And then somebody goes, I already got your Corona. And I just go, oh, okay, good. And I come over here, start looking at the internet or my notes or something. Next thing you know, I'm drinking the beer. Halfway through it, I'm like, oh, that's right. So, like, dumb little mistakes like that. I could have just easily had the liquor, and I would have been cool. But anyway. All right. It's a 2-hour show that we got ahead of you right now. We have one guest, Scott Coker, the president of Bellator MMA. He will stop by. We'll talk about Bellator 220, which is coming up on Saturday. The Zone's got you covered on that one. And there's 2 title fights. One of them with the implication of it's also a quarterfinal Grand Prix in that welterweight Grand Prix that started out last year. This is the last quarterfinal. It features Roy McDonald defending his welterweight belt against John Fitch. Now remember, at the end of this Grand Prix, someone can walk home with the Grand Prix belt and the Bellator Undisputed belt and $1 million. So pay attention, folks, on Saturday. There's a lot at stake there. John Fitch, of course, you know him from the UFC, longtime challenger, title challenger. Also stopped by with the WSOF, now known as the PFL. He won their welterweight title. Now he's with Bellator. And awaiting the winner of that fight will be Neiman Gracie, who defeated Ed Ruth, if you'll recall, last year. Also, Lima Lane McFarland, she'll be defending her Bellator flyweight title versus Vita Arteaga. So we'll be talking about those 2 title fights, the other fights that are featured on the main card at Bellator 220 with Scott Coker at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Other than that, we'll have our daily debate. We'll have some fun. We'll take some calls. And, of course, you can be a part of the show by calling in at 877-FIGHT-93, 877-344-4893. You can also tweet us. The channel, the Twitter handle works for the whole channel, not just us, but all the other shows. So you can use this to address some of the other hosts and producers on the channel at any time. But for us, Monday through Friday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, for the next 2 hours, it's always at MMA on SiriusXM with, you can tag, of course, at MMA Junkie George. That's me. At The Goes, that is The Goes. And when Dan Tom's with us, Mondays and Fridays, at DanTom MMA. All right, so John Fitch, I mentioned him earlier. Remember that? He responded to some allegations that came at him from Faraz Zahabi. Faraz Zahabi is the head coach at the TriStar Gym in Montreal, Canada. Most notably, he was the cornerman for most of GSP's epic run in the UFC. I'd say 3/4 of it. Remember, Greg Jackson had a hand in part of George St. Pierre's career. But Faraz Zahabi was there most of the time, either as a co-pilot or as the pilot himself for that nice run that GSP had, which just ended recently, by the way, with that retirement, in air quotes. I think he'll be back.
Mm-hmm. Think so.
No one's even heard of where he went to, right? I mean, there hasn't been a GSP sighting. I don't know if I
think
follow him on... Has he?
Yeah, I know.
Has he popped up somewhere?
Not really, but I think he's really done this time.
Okay. Faraz Zahabi just kind of... I think it's fair to say, kind of came out of nowhere when asked about John Fitch. And boy, did we just have bad timing there, because we had John Fitch on, I think, a day or two before.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't really have a chance to ask or to answer to Faraz Zahabi. Faraz Zahabi really, really came at him strong and just, I mean, buried him almost. And says he had the cheating incident. He believes the 7-2 run has been enhanced, and that he will be cheating on Saturday. I mean, come on. And that's so. I guess why it took the MMA world by storm was that just kind of came out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Well, especially from him.
It'd be like Dan Rather. You hear that Dan Rather or somebody like that, somebody really conservative and professional, all of a sudden just roasted Donald Trump on Twitter. And you'd be like, what? Like,
Mm-hmm.
But John Fitch was on the MMA Hour, and he responded to Faraz Zahabi. And here's what he told Luke Thomas, who hosts the MMA Hour as well over at MMA Fighting. We have some audio on that, so let's play cut number 1, please.
I don't care. I don't live my life caring what other people say or think. You're gonna go through your life worrying about other people and what they think. You're gonna be a loser. You're not gonna get far. So I don't care. People can think whatever they want to say. I live my life for me and my family.
What do you think, Goose?
That much is true. He's always kind of been like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's a nice guy. You can have a great conversation with him. When he sees you, he'll give you a big handshake, big hug. But for the most part, he keeps to himself. I've never really seen him as a guy that gets on the mic and tries to get the approval of the fans and all that. I personally, I mean, I know we'll get to more of it, but I kind of like the way he tackled the situation.
But do you think he cares?
No.
No?
He's one of the, normally I would say yes, but he's actually one of the few guys in the sport that I do believe when he says he doesn't care, he doesn't care.
Wow, okay. At the AKA gym or with his family and close group of friends, he doesn't serve them up something different than what he had to tell Luke Thomas. I mean, that's more of a public setting. He knows that whatever he says is going to get cut up and dissected and talked about. But over here, maybe he can be a little bit more real. But you really think he doesn't care?
Yeah, I think so.
You don't think part of him says, fuck that guy? Or, oh, yeah, well, what about this? Or what about that? And, you know, like,
maybe a little bit, but not enough to really warrant him coming out and saying stuff like that. Or he's never been one that calls you up for an interview or, hey, how come you haven't had me on?
Mm-hmm.
He's just a very personal guy. I think he loves to go in and train, do his thing, and then whatever time he has left over, he has business ventures, family time, and I think he's just happy living life like that.
All right. Well, Faraz Zahabi pointed to, you know, the time that he did get popped. It was for using testosterone for the Husamar Palhares fight. Here's some quotes on why he went down that road. This is cut number 2.
Yeah, so like I fell through a spiral of depression. I was struggling with, you know, my personal family life and finances. I got to a place where, you know, you could see other guys around you. I found out about guys who I had fought, who were on TRT, the therapeutic exemptions. I learned about Vitor Belfort's testosterone being covered up and him being allowed to compete anyways. There are rumors of other guys that happening to with also. And then I was taking a 70% pay cut, at least 70% pay cut from going from the UFC to the World Series of Fighting.
I mean, that's a huge pay cut.
Yeah.
I understand why he's looking at things that way, but it still doesn't make it right to do it. I mean, I guess you got to remember, like, these people, this isn't John Fitch walking out and saying, I'd like to talk about this. He's answering questions.
Okay.
And when you answer questions, you have to give answers just based on the information that you have, right? Like, I mean, he knows he's dumb. I think he's kind of somewhat admitted that. He's just trying to tell you, well, this is why I did it. But I don't think he's trying to convince you. You see, maybe it's not so bad after all. I don't think he's going that route. I think he's just going, this is why I did it personally.
Do you find that excuse, though, will be less valid, at least if we're just talking to UFC fighters? Because,
Maybe.
okay, prior to USADA, and I know some will still say, even through USADA, George, but prior to USADA, people threw out the number anywhere up to 90, anywhere from everyone's cheating to 90% to 75%, and everybody's like, whoa, like that was jarring, you know? Like, I remember at one point I thought it was more like 10 to 20, and I think at some point my mind could have just accepted 50, because it just seemed like a lot. It meant every time I go to Extreme Couture and there's 50 guys on the mat, 25 of them are cheating, even if I just went with my high number. And to think all of them are cheating, like 9 out of 10, you know, that'd be 45 out of 50. That was a bit much. But I know that in our MMA world, in our social media bubble of the sport,
There's a lot
people
of
love to exaggerate. Exactly. However, I think USADA has checked a lot of people, and that's why we see, you know, softer dudes and gals or whatever. No, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that's one thing you're going to be able to say less of is, well, I thought everybody else was cheating and I didn't want to get left behind. Something along the lines of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I think USADA's at least cleaned up some cheating. There you go.
Oh, I think a good chunk of it.
Yeah. That's what they came in to do, was curb it, not end it.
I think
they want to end it, but I don't think it'll ever end in professional sports.
I think they caught a lot of people, and then they also, just the threat of them being there also caught a lot of people, or put people on the right path.
Sticking with the same theme, here's a story that popped up today, no pun intended. 4 UFC fighters get a 6-month USADA suspensions over supplements. Ostarine has once again popped up as the culprit here in these contaminated supplement cases, and it involves the following 4 fighters: Augusto Mendez, Marvin Vettori, Sean O'Malley, and the inaugural flyweight champ, Nico Montana. Mendez was March 7th of 2018. Vettori, August 24th of 2018. Sean O'Malley, September and December of 2018. And Nico Montana, October of 2025. So they're all pretty much eligible to fight because these suspensions are retroactive. Some of them are really, really feeling, I guess, free and free of guilt mostly, but at the same time, they are also, in a way, attacking, you know, those that kind of hated on them. Who just scored?
That's
Boston just scored on Toronto.
No,
Toronto just scored on Boston. Okay,
that's primarily
NHL playoffs, folks.
Marvin Vettori, and I was gonna say of the 4, when this all went down, Marvin was probably the most vocal when it happened. So I could see him having a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. But I believe him and Sean O'Malley today both released tweets. I think Sean was just kind of like, I'm back, baby, that sort of thing. Where Marvin's was a little bit more directed towards the haters and all the negativity that you see in sometimes the media, sometimes social media.
Do you recommend that, or do you recommend just get back to fighting?
Get back to fighting, I think. Because, first of all, when you lay out a story like this, half of the people that read it don't even really understand it. They don't really get what's going on, and then they just move on to the next thing. So I don't know that you're going to change people's opinions. I think the best thing to do is just kind of like Gilbert Melendez, just kind of inch back a little bit, let things play out, and then when you're back, you're just back, right?
Yeah. Ostarine, that's come up a few other times. If you recall, there was 3 Brazilian fighters that also were linked to that, one of them being Junior Dos Santos, and they were all kind of like, I guess, exonerated? I don't want to use these terms that have been going on with the whole Mueller report. But Ostarine, by the way, is a selective androgen receptor modulator that's banned year-round and is sold worldwide as a compound that mimics anabolic steroids. USADA has pushed legislators to outlaw supplements that contain ostarine amid several UFC positives. So if that rang a bell, that's what we were circling back to, was late last year. I think Rogerio Nogueira was the other one, and I forget who the third may have been. But anyway, these fighters are now free to go. I would still say what I want USADA to do more of is, I mean, come on, man. One of March of 2018. What's taking so long?
Mm-hmm.
That needs to be done. That needs to be get done a little bit quicker. All right, we're going to go to a break now. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156. That's right, 156. We made the switch a couple weeks ago. If you're a little confused there on your presets, we did that for you. But if you ever get lost, remember, we are channel 156. We'll kind of keep a little bit of this discussion going. We had a nice little sit-down, John Morgan, with Joseph Benavidez, and he also had some stuff to say out there that was, about the UFC flyweight division, but he also weighs in on Walt Harris and the USADA suspension that he accepted that we mentioned yesterday. So we'll come right back and start off with that. It's draft week on NFL Radio. Tomorrow at 8 Eastern, it's the NFL Draft Eve Party at Ole Red in Nashville. And it's hosted by Alex Marvez and former Titan Brad Hopkins. Only on SiriusXM NFL Radio, Channel 88. And streaming on your phone and at home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers. Ready for the draft goes?
I've been hearing a lot of draft talk.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I think this is going to be one of those drafts where normally you can kind of map it out. Like, say the first pick doesn't go this way, then for sure 2's going to do this. I think this is going to be one that's going to kind of throw people for a loop.
Okay.
But the one thing that I would suggest that I've always wanted to see is the time period in between picks. What is it, 10 or 15? I think
it may be 15 in the
15
first
in
round.
the first round.
Yeah.
I would like them to move that down to 10. Now, I get it in the first round. There's a lot of wheeling and dealing, a lot of trades, that sort of thing. But I think every team should be able to just maybe one time extend it 5 minutes.
Well, they only do it for the first round.
Yeah.
Then the second round's 5 minutes. And then
whatever that is, whatever round you want, you can extend by however, whatever that token is, whether it's an extra 3 minutes or whatever. But not everybody needs 15 minutes is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they don't use the whole 15, but the reason you wait is just in case. Let's say you got your guy, but you wait till the very end just in case the people behind you go, hey, man, we want that guy, and you get our number, and they give you something so ridiculous that you just can't pass it up.
And my second request is this.
Yeah.
Whoever's doing the interviews that day, okay, as soon as they're done with the pick, he needs to walk to whoever the football player is and say, are you going to say anything other than, I want to thank my family, friends, and the blah, blah, blah. Whatever that first guy said, are you going to say anything different? If so, come here, and we'll do the interview. If not, beat it. I don't want to hear the same thing over and over and over. It's dumb. It's a waste of time.
Wow. Well, it's their own. It's their moment. You know what I mean? And each person individually.
Well, that's what social media is all about.
I suppose.
Have your moment on social media. I want to thank blah, blah, blah. There you go.
Sounds like you don't want to tune in to the draft on Thursday.
I like it, but it's sometimes it can go fast, and then sometimes it goes slow, and then I don't know.
You got to get liquored up. All right. I misspoke earlier. Joseph Benavidez, we have audio from him, but it's not in regards to Walt Harris. Walt Harris was something that came up yesterday, and I'll say it one more time. We like Walt Harris. We just recently had Walt Harris on, and he has a fight coming up on May 4th, but he was suspended, by the way, for 4 months by the United States Anti-Doping Agency. That's USADA. And that happened on Monday when they announced it. However, this suspension that he's going to go through is retroactive and going to end this week. All right? Why is all this happening like that? Because it's backdated to December 30th, UFC 232. And the fight that he had with Sergey Spivak becomes a no contest, I believe. The 4-month suspension means he's off suspension on April 30th. And that's why he can still go through with his fight. Coming up on May 4th. And that's why the interview we have, everything holds up. He told us he's in Alabama. He's not with American Top Team, but he's got a lot of individualized training. And he promised us, remember, goes, after the fight, if he comes to Vegas, he's stopping by and he's going to do a co-host gig with us.
Dude, I took a picture with that guy standing on a chair. And he was still waiting.
Former hoopster. Yeah, big dude. All right, regarding Joseph Benavidez, he had a lot to cover, and there's a really great interview done by our own John Morgan, and I imagine Ken Hathaway, Cold Coffee, was with him. So shout out to those guys. But this is at the UFC PI, and sticking with the theme here of PEDs, Joseph Benavidez, former teammate of TJ Dillashaw, not just in Sacramento. If you'll recall, when Dillashaw moved to Colorado, Benavidez, I wouldn't say followed him there. He was going because he really liked training with Dwayne Ludwig. I think him and his other half, Megan O'Leary, I think they purchased a house in Colorado, and Colorado was just a place where they were going to be able to go back and forth. There were still some ties to Sacramento, and then, of course, circling back, they've been pretty much in Vegas now as they've left Sacramento completely, and I'm not so sure they still go back to Colorado, honestly, or if they have, it hasn't been as much lately, and most of his camp now gets done in Vegas.
Yeah.
So, why am I saying all that? I don't know. But anyway, I guess the fact that him and Dillashaw being so tight for so many years, his comments kind of caught a lot of people by surprise. So here we go. This is Joseph Benavidez talking about TJ Dillashaw.
I mean, it didn't impact me. I mean, I wasn't surprised at all that he finally got caught. You know, wasn't surprising at all. There's nothing I can really say, like, as far as, like, that hasn't already been said that's, like, bad. I'm not going to sit here and say the guy is this and that, because if you look at the internet and everyone, it's already been said. So, you know, there's nothing worse you can say than what everyone already thinks, which I think is warranted. You know, everything that people are out there and giving him, it's 100% warranted for what he did. But it just goes to show, like, there's consequences for what you do, and you can't you can't hide who you are forever, and I'm surprised it took that long for him to get caught and hid and, you know, kind of what he's about this long. So, you know, but you can't hide that stuff forever. So it's great that it came out. There is consequences, and I mean, if anything, I don't even think the consequences are that much if you look at it for, like, you know, so I mean, it's not that bad. The 2 years, get some surgeries. You got paid the day after the fight anyway, so it's not like you're getting suspended for the year. But, you know, like I said, it's all the other things, you know, all the disgrace and everything that is warranted and maybe hurts more. But like I said, you can't, I mean, the truth will come out at some point, and you can't hide that stuff forever.
I want to talk a little bit about the consequences.
Okay.
How far do those consequences fall? Obviously, TJ Dillashaw's credibility is completely shot. But does it ever trickle down to the coach? And does it ever trickle down to the camp? At what point, how far do those consequences fall in your opinion?
All right, let me go one by one. I don't think it'll affect Ludwig or Sam Calvita in neither of their camps. And I think they were very smart in putting out statements that said, we in no way condone, and this is me paraphrasing, in no way condone what Dillashaw did, but he's still our guy. And the reason Dillashaw's still their guy is because the bond that coaches and athletes have, for the most part, 99% of the time, is that of almost like big brother, little brother, father, son, favorite uncle, nephew, whatever. And if you think about it, in life, you've probably disappointed mom and dad, right? I know I have.
Probably.
And they're still our mom and dad. Now, I'm not comparing it to blood, I guess. But oftentimes, for a lot of people, it's like that, you know, and that's why people they're not exaggerating. You just heard Conan Silveira talk about his relationship with Amanda Nunes. You asked him the question. And he said, I felt, what did he say? I felt like I found my daughter, my MMA daughter or something.
Yeah, he was blessed with his MMA daughter.
Right. So there'll still be a relationship there. I don't think neither gym will suffer. If you mean like on the public front, like I don't think moms are going to pull their kids out of jiu-jitsu class or anything like that. The one thing is the benefit they're going to get of this sport goes is 2 years are going to go by, and there's going to be so many other F-ups out there that it's just going to be forgotten until they fight. And if TJ fights and wins, then yes, some of this will come back because, hey, are you anxious to prove that you're drug-free, and should you win the title, you can, you know, put a middle finger in everyone's face to that age, you know what I mean? That stuff's going to come along. But if he just comes back and wins and loses, or wins two and loses one, wins two and loses one, I think he'll be able to avoid it. The highlight will just get bigger. The spotlight will just get bigger the more he grows again in stature. But as long as he doesn't, and remember, he'll be 35 when he comes back, and there's going to be others waiting for him. There's still going to be the killers that are there now, along with some of the cats that are slowly creeping up. Maybe Corey Sandhagen, who fights John Lineker on Saturday. Who knows? I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm just saying something along the lines of that. So it won't be easy. Now, from the front of, remember he was one of the benefit. I think he was one of the ones that benefit from a exclusive Reebok contract. Yeah. A few of those guys and gals did.
He had Van Houston too, right?
He had a few things. Yeah. Well, that one will be tough. But now I point to Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen was able to get past the same drugs. And look where he's at now. Headlining an upcoming Bellator at the Garden on ESPN, covering the UFC and also co-hosting his shows with Ariel Helwani. His YouTube channel and his podcasts are doing well. And he's got sponsors. Bet, DSI, I think he's one of them.
He's a unique
He is.
person,
You're right.
though, right.
You're right. He is. But I'm saying, look, maybe not to that level. But what I'm saying is, people didn't completely close their doors.
Yeah.
And of course, I can go outside of that and go to other sports and point to athletes that had the same type of scandals, and yet they were able to still circle back. So it's just our sport's a little different. Our sport is more internet driven, and we're in it. Remember, if we were in football, we'd be probably answering other types of questions by some of the athletes that have gotten hammered, where a normal outsider may not know. Like Johnson, he may have heard of TJ Dillashaw, and if he did, he may have heard, isn't that the guy that just got suspended? And then that's it. he's not going to remember when he comes back, oh, my God, isn't that the guy? You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to fall at that because he's an Angels guy. He's a UCLA guy. He's a Kings guy. He's a Elvis guy, a porn guy. You know what I mean? That's where his main focuses are.
He's obviously not paying attention.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, I think he'll be able to overcome that. I really, really recommend that you all check out Joseph Benavidez covering a lot, talking about the future of flyweight. He still believes there's a chance. He's got Jussier Formiga ahead of him, and he actually jokes around and says, start calling me Joey 2 times, because that's the second time he's had to fight Formiga. He beat him 2 times. And he recently beat Dustin Ortiz, who he had to beat 2 times. And there's a few others in there as well. And he's kind of...
He's had a lot of rematches.
He wants that nickname to kind of hang out there a little bit. Because if he fights Henry Cejudo, that one would be a 2-time as well. He's got to win over Henry Cejudo. And there may actually be... That might be the glimmer of hope for the flyweight division to possibly survive. Most of us have written it off. I have as well. The only thing I hang on to is the fact that they're still booking flyweight fights. I don't know why. Like, they should have just told those 2 fight at 35.
Dana White has such an incredible stance on 165. Will tell you absolutely every reason why he doesn't like it.
But he can't shut down 25.
125, he just can't tell us.
And he can't shut down 45 either in the women's.
Yeah.
Because, don't get me started. Anyway, all right. Time for one more break. Let's do that. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156. Remember, you can call in at any time. It's 877-FIGHT-93, 877-344-4893. We'd love to hear from you on any of these topics. Benavidez, PEDs, Dillashaw, or hey, let's just start turning the page because this weekend we have some great fights on ESPN. And at the very top, Jack Hermance and the Joker steps in for Yoel Romero, and he'll be battling Jacare Souza on Saturdays. We could definitely talk about that, and for sure, the Bellator card, Bellator 220, which features Rory McDonald and John Fitch, along with Ilima-Lei McFarland versus Vida Arteaga. So stay close and don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. Remember, you can call in at any time. 877-FIGHT-93, 877-344-4893. We got 2 amateurs on hold. If they can do it, you can do it. Trust me. Just call in. The friendly voice of Josh Friedman, a.k.a. Jumbo Josh, will say, "What's up, bitch? What do you want to talk about?" You'll tell him, "Shut up, jackass. Just put me through. I want to talk blah, blah, blah." And then that's it. You know, a little bit of ball busting on each side. And Josh will let us know, "Hey, so-and-so's on hold." And then I'll look at Goes, and Goes will either give a thumbs up or thumbs down,
Or
a
an
la
eye
Caesar.
roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or an eye roll. Eye roll is the most popular reference that he does. But watch how easy it is. Setting the table, it's Marco from Waco, Texas. What's up, Marco? Show him how it's not done.
Marco from Waco, dudes.
What's up, bud?
So, dude, looking at all this weekend, you guys are coming up to Mara Ferry there in Vegas. I think she needs an invite, bro. She needs an invite to the studio and talk
Who?
to us. So what she need on Sunday? Roxy, Mara Ferry.
Roxanne, that's a good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what you did on Friday, beating one of the two sisters, man, Antonina. I wasn't expecting it. Nobody was giving her a chance, and that proved me wrong.
I thought she had a chance.
I was giving her a chance because Roxy has proved a lot of people wrong. Look, when you beat Barb Honchak, who at the time was regarded as the #1 flyweight in the world before Valentina had dropped, before Eubanks and Montano and all them other girls showed off what they could do, Honchak was a title holder over at Invicta. Now, she had been away from the sport for a while, but still, a lot of people pointed to her like that's the one we're all gunning for. Roxanne beat her, all right? Roxanne did a great account for herself on the reality show, and then on days' notice or hours' notice, I don't know, I can't remember when Eubanks fell off and didn't fight Montano. Roxanne, who was also on the same card, but not training for 5 fights, went out there and had a great showing for herself, even though she came up short. So right away, I knew she's pretty much a live dog in any fight. And here's the thing about Valentina. In MMA, Valentina hasn't lost since 2002. Now, granted, she had long spells where she didn't fight in MMA, but she's had like 5 fights in 2017 and 2018, just in the last 2 years. In Muay Thai, she hadn't lost since 2003. So she literally hadn't experienced losing in combat sports since in the last 16 years. But again, this is MMA, and anything can and will happen. So I would politely disagree. I think there were a lot of people out there, including this show, Dan Tom, myself, and Goes, that felt like Roxanne had a chance to win that fight.
Yeah, you meant to say Antonina. You called her Valentina.
No, before Valentina won the title, I said Roxanne had a great run. So what I meant was Barb Honchak was pointed to as the #1. And so this was as the flyweight, season was unfolding and everything, and then there was a whole thing that went down with Nico Montano, and now yes, Valentina holds the belt. But before all that, a lot of people looked towards Barb Honchak for many years as the #1. But yeah, I do know that Antonina is the one that fought her on Saturday and lost that decision.
Yeah, all this USADA talk, man. I mean, one of the guys that got come out with a 6-month suspension, the Brazilian guy, he tested positive in March of last year, and the guy's not even on the roster anymore, and they're giving him a freaking suspension. It's like a dog and pony show, man, with USADA. We got all this, Machida, self-referring himself for keto, he get a 2-year suspension. Kroko self-referred himself for, grow hormone because his doctor gave it to him. He gets suspended. They never tested positive for nothing. They just self-refer. We got Barnett, the freaking got exonerated, but he still lost 18 months of his life. DJ Dillashaw get a 1-year suspension from the New York State Athletic Commission, then USADA get him 2. It's like a dog and pony show with this clown show, man. And I know that everybody is like, okay, the USADA is there, no, they don't in the UFC. I still think, man, maybe we should go to the VADA model with the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, that they will test the people, and then they send the results to the commission, and the commission adjudicate the punishment, because it's a little bit unfair for the fighters what they cannot say, or what is being imposed by USADA. And if they were not on the UFC, TJ Dillashaw will be receiving a 1-year suspension, and that's it. I mean, it's a lot of discussion that it takes more than just one phone call to talk about, but it's a lot of things that are good, what you said, but a lot of things that are really, really, really taking me off, because they don't got procedure, they make the rules as they go along, and then the fighter just gotta take it, man. I think it's unfair. Peace out, dudes.
See you, bud.
I've never been a big fan of commissions handing things out because commissions have a say in, take Las Vegas. If you have to hand out a bad punishment to a guy like Conor McGregor, do you know how much money Conor McGregor brings to the city when he fights? That money affects the commission if they're not here. Okay, so I've never really liked them being the ones making decisions like that. So I'd have to disagree on that one.
Well, a lot of times,
Floyd Mayweather, you know how much money Floyd Mayweather? You telling me if Floyd did something and then somebody else that's not as popular as Floyd, you really think they'd get the same sentence?
Well, they allowed him.
Floyd's on the building, for crying out loud.
Yeah, didn't they allow for him to serve a sentence like 3 weeks later? Or I guess that involved more the authorities, right?
Yeah.
Just because they knew what he was going to bring to the table
to Las Vegas.
Yeah. Usually, USADA and the commissions, at least the big, well-known commissions. Not to say New York isn't and doesn't have a history. It's just theirs is mostly with boxing up until 2016. But most of the time, I believe they are trying to work a little bit closer so that everything is doled out equally. In this case, New York said, this is what he did 1 year. This is the fine. We move on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then USADA just takes longer. But I understand a lot what Marco's saying. There's a lot of confusion out there. I think we would all like to see a little bit more consistency, and
it'll get better.
Hopefully, yeah, they get better. Just like we say, the UFC got better or Fight Pass got better. We hope ESPN Plus will get better. USADA needs to turn it up because I believe now they're completing year 3 and starting year 4, or in the process of year 4. All right, who's next? Paul from Wilmington. What's up, Paul?
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
What up?
I'm doing well. I just got done with my workout, feeling good. Doing my thing. First off, I want to let everybody know I'm a casual fan, but I live with a hardcore fan, so I absorb a lot of this stuff by osmosis.
Ah. Okay. Yeah.
My wife is Pam.
Right.
You guys have had her on the show a couple times.
When
Pam and Sam.
When I saw Wilmington, yes, I do remember. When I saw Wilmington, I thought, isn't that what Pam has said her husband's name is? Paul. Okay. But I wasn't sure. But as soon as you said that, I was like, there we go. How you doing, man? It's nice to hear. It's nice to meet you.
You too, guys. Great to hear you. I listen to you all the time when I get a chance when I'm on the road.
Thank you.
Anyway,
you're a lucky man, man. She's a very sweet lady. She's a passionate MMA fan. She's so cool. We're proud to call her a friend and a member of Junkie Nation.
I hear you. I tell everybody I'm smart. I married up. Yeah. So, the whole thing with USADA, they got to do their thing. I get that, but it seems like the rules are always changing, and the sport's going to always evolve with the drug taking for one reason and one reason only. These guys are trying their damnedest to win, and they don't get paid shit. So they're going to do everything they can. America's always been based on if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Sad to say it, we've seen it in every sport. They say they clean it up. Do they or do they not? The game always evolves. And I think if you paid these guys a decent amount of purse, they wouldn't be so threatened. And I also think that if you didn't allow the weight cuts to be so extreme and try and create that dominant edge, it's unhealthy on these guys. They got to tear their bodies apart to get to it. And like I said, I'm a casual fan, and I could say this. I did my first BJJ class last week, and I almost broke my rib. So, I applaud these guys. They are true warriors, not on the battlefield, but in the arena.
Right on, Paul. Hey, great call. And first of all, awesome that you're hitting the mats. It's never too late, that's for sure. As far as what you were saying, yeah, I do believe that in sports, greed definitely is one of the biggest motivators for someone to even think about cheating, let alone go out there and cheat. It's in a lot of people's minds. It's just some can bring themselves to stop it, and it's all how you were raised and the morals that you have and carry with you. But trust me, man, even the most hardcore martial artists out there that all we've ever known or heard about them is bowing to their opponent. Even they've thought of it, and even they've done it, and a lot of them have been caught too. So it's just the way of sports. It's just the way of life. Thank you very much for the call, man. It was great to hear from Paul. Shout out to Spam, better known as Pam and Sam, out from Wilmington, North Carolina. We got to take our last break of the first hour. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 156. I got a story to share with you all, and I want to bring in my buddy Elvis Johnson. He doesn't even know yet. He's walking in right now, but I want Junkie Nation to be my judge and jury, including Josh, Goes, and the rest of you. So if you want to call in, now will be a good time to let me know here within the next 2 hours or hour and a half that's left, pre and post Scott Coker interview, if Gigi acted decently here. You guys are going to want to hear this story. We'll be right back. All right, guys, check this out. I've been holding on to this for a few weeks now, and I am kind of embarrassed, honestly. So this can go either very well for me, hey, GG, we got your back, dog, or I am going to get lit up. But I'm willing to do it because, worse things have happened. So here we go. Let me see. And I'm going to leave out some names, at least for now. Hopefully you guys don't mind. We went to a fine dining establishment about 2 weeks ago. Myself and members of my family and Juliet.
Okay.
All right. We had a nice dinner. And this is like a well-known restaurant in Southern California. We had a really, really nice dinner. On the way in, I realized that I had no cash. All right. And I was like, okay, mental note. Who parked my car? I'm going to take care of them on the way out. because sometimes I like to give them a little when they take the car and not just when they return the car.
Okay.
And the reason I'm bringing in Elvis is because Elvis has done this gig before, so he knows exactly how this works, the ins and outs. He'll probably be maybe the ultimate judge. He may be actually the Supreme Court right here guy. If Josh and Goz are in disagreement, he might be the tiebreaker. So it's funny though, because I was helping I was helping a member of the family just to get out, and we were like in a hurry to be there on time, and I was thinking, oh man, I don't have any singles, I don't have, nothing. But it's funny because there was a sign there that said the recommended tip is, and it said $4.50. And I was like, oh, well, look at you guys telling me what to do. Yeah. But that's fine, because I think a 5 was what I was going to do on the way out. Not that that's what I normally do. I'm usually like a $3 guy over here at the forum shops or whatever. If I have the 5, I'll do it. But if I also just have the $3, I'll probably usually give like 3, depending on what they're like. If they're dicks or, hey, how you doing, sir? Yeah. That also goes a long way.
Here you go, amigo. It depends on what they say, right?
The day of the dollar, that's gone. The day of even the $2 is gone. I think you got to start with 3. I think 3 is the cheapskate. And 5 is kind of like just the cost of living, man's gone up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to kind of like have that swag as you're walking in and out, starting your car, all that shit. But it said the recommended tip. I'd never seen that before, but I saw it and I go, that's fine, because I was probably going to do a 5. We go in, we eat, had a great meal, proper meal, and all's good. I tell Juliet, hey, you got a 5? She goes, I got you. She gives me a $5 bill. Then I went to somebody else. Oh, somebody else in the party. I paid for dinner. Somebody else in the party goes, let me split it with you, and gives me 100. I go, oh, well, thanks, That's cool. So as we were walking out, I'm helping a certain member of the family get in, and we had the doggy bag, and I think there was some flowers because it was a special occasion. Okay, bye, thanks for coming, see ya, call me when you're home, this, that, whatever. And the guy comes around, and I go, here you go, stick your hand out, Johnson. Here you go, kind of like that, a little shake, and I got you. And I thought I was giving him a 5. I get all the way home, which is an hour away. And as soon as we get home, I empty my pockets. And I go, whoo, because I had driven from Vegas to go to this dinner. So I left from Vegas. Remember those days off I took?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was then. I drove from Vegas, went to this dinner. That was a lot of driving around. Had the dinner, had a great dinner, and then still had to drive an hour home. So when I got out, it was one of those where you just empty your pockets and you just throw it all on the table. And the first thing I threw, I saw keys, my wallet, and a fucking $5 bill. And as soon as I saw it, I go, oh, no! Oh, no! I knew it. I mean, there was no, like, let me check this. I already knew I was the dumbest motherfucker on earth, and I had just tipped that guy $100.
Yeah.
And I go, damn it! Because I was an hour away. I called Juliet. I go, you're going to laugh your ass off, which is my way of saying I'm about to tell you something you're not going to like. But I try and preface it by saying, you're going to laugh your ass off, And she goes, what now? And I go, and I explained to her everything I just told you guys. And she's got it in her voice, basically like, fool, I know you're not about to ask me to go back over there,
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yes, I am. I do want to ask you to go over there. Because I had, like, some time to think about it, like 2-3 minutes. And I just thought, look, if Juliet wasn't there, I wouldn't ask anybody else. Not Big Ralph, not any of my homies in the OC. Go down there and get him. I'm just dumb. And I'm not going to go the next day and go, last night I was here. The guy, he looked like that. I'm just dumb, and the guy gets it, right?
Man.
But because Juliet's only 10 minutes away, I thought, we need to do this. All right? Whew. So she's like, she gave me a polite, okay, I'm on my way. But if you look through the translation of that, there was curse words. She did not want to go, and
that's like an Impractical Joker's punishment.
I was kind of feeling like Costanza-ish. I was like, am I weird? What would most people do? And I would love to hear from you all. And if you don't get in now, we'll talk to you after the Scott Coker interview. That's coming up. 877-FIGHT-93. 877-344-4893. I want to know what you all would do. I was an hour away. The restaurant was closing. By the time I made it back, they were going to be gone. But I knew she could make it. She goes back down there, and she says, hey, my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. And the guy tells her, oh, that was a mistake? And she goes, yes. So right away, he acknowledged that he knew. Now, when he took it from me, I don't know that he looked at it, because I didn't give him the look of someone that when someone gives 100, you don't just go, here you go. You kind of look at him like, here you go, kid. I got you. A wink or a pat or something like that. just to show you're a baller. You know, that 100 means nothing to you.
Yeah.
And that's for sure not what I did. I just put it in his hand because I was juggling stuff.
But that's even more gangster.
Maybe that guy was like, God damn, that didn't even mean nothing to him.
But on his part, he needs to tell you, oh, you're a very generous individual.
Exactly. I didn't get that. I didn't go, thank you, sir. Thank you. I didn't get that. I think he did it quick because I remember there was cars in each direction. There was only 2 of them. And so we were all just kind of busy. We're all busy. Anyway, he says that to her, right? And she says, yeah, it was a mistake, and here I am, you know. We thought it was just reach in your pocket, here you go. And I told her, I go, give the guy a 20. That was a foul up. It wasn't his fault. And that way I still make $80 out of it. And I was looking at it like this, guys. The next time I see Juliet, which I think was going to be the next day, her and I can go to, like, P.F. Chang's and order $80 worth of food. You know what? We're not just going to throw it away. I'm not a rich guy. Neither is she. We just don't do that.
But Juliet's not going to eat at P.F. Chang's?
Good one, Goose. So, he tells her, I'm sorry. We've already put the money in the Dropbox. And I swear to God, when Juliet was telling me this, I was like, oh, he pulled the old Dropbox on you, huh? Mm-hmm. And I was like, and you didn't say anything to him? But I knew she was already, like, sensitive. And I could tell she was already in the car driving down. And so I just knew there was no chance of her going back and going, that's bullshit. You know, she did what she was supposed to do, and I give her a 7.5 out of 10. I think there could have been more persistency there, but whatever. She fell for the old Dropbox. And so I just knew, okay, I'm just done with this. You know, I just need to go to bed, and this is that. Anyway, I sat there. It kept me up for a few hours. I thought about it the next day. Am I being a tightwad? Am I being dumb? Am I being old? What am I, you know? And so then finally I go, nope, I think I got to do this because I will be back in that area. And if it's just come right through, we get it, do it. You know what I mean? And like I say, guys, all of you that want to act like ballers right now, tell me you don't, if you see $100 bill in the street, you don't go, woohoo! If you find it, you go, woohoo, look what I found, right? You don't just go, oh, it's just 100 and walk by it. So if you're going to give me some shit, I'm going to say that to you because I think there might be some that might do it. And it all depends on who says it or who doesn't. But we'll talk a little bit more about this.
I got a lot to say
when we come back.
This is interesting.
It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156. Scott Coker's coming up. And again, I'd like to know from Junkie Nation, what should George have done? Call in 877-FIGHT-93, 877-344-4893. We'd love to hear from you.
The real show begins. Take it away, boys.
Okay. Until our guest calls in, I'm halfway through the story. Give me some early indicators. Mike Johnson, also known as Elvis, what do you think?
I can't believe that.
Are you leaning more towards putting on a shirt that says Team George or Team Other Guy?
I've given a tip back because of that happening, and to say that's in the Dropbox, like it's in the vault, you know, like Ocean's 11 or something, like it's put away, you know. It's like that sounds booty.
Oh, so you're wearing a Team George shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Goes?
This
isn't your final answer.
I wouldn't have made my girl go get it though.
I'm not necessarily saying I'm Team them. Mm-hmm. I think I'm just Team the incident, I guess.
Team the? What the fuck is that?
Yeah, well, because I'm not saying that like. My early indication is I would have.
There's two shirts.
I would have told
Team
you
George or Team.
Okay, then I guess
the other place.
Team
the other guy.
Other place.
Okay, that's fine. Josh, which way are you leaning?
I'm with you, George. And I mean, it was an accident. Clearly, this Dropbox thing, like if they knew it was an accident, even if they put it in the Dropbox, give you a free meal, do something.
Right.
You gave a decent tip.
Well, like I said, I'm halfway through the story, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes here. But right now, I want to focus on our next guest. He's the president of Bellator MMA. Bellator MMA has a really, really nice card coming up on Saturday. Emphasis on nice. In fact, if you're from the streets, it's actually more noise. I mean, this card has a quarterfinal Grand Prix that also happens to be the one where the champ is defending his belt, because he's one of the 8 in these Grand Prix. That's Rory McDonald defending against John Fitch. Remember, the winner is going to get a new shiny belt, a Grand Prix belt. He's going to get the undisputed belt and $1 million from 50 Cent. Now, if that's not enough, in the co-main event, we have the women's flyweight title being defended by Elimele McFarland against Vida Arteaga. And like I mentioned earlier during the week, 2 former champs at the light heavyweight division, Phil Davis versus Liam McGarry. They're battling Benson Henderson. Gaston Balanes doesn't get better than that. What's up, Big Daddy Cokes? Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio.
Glad to be here, guys.
All right. Hey, man, this is an awesome card. You have a lot of firepower on this main card. Is this still the magic of Rich Chu? Or what I want to know is how much is of a fingerprint do you have on this, Scott Coker?
Well, I tell you, the matchmaking is done by, the team here. We have a good team of people that contribute to the fight. But Rich is definitely a big piece of that. He always has some great insight, and, I think he really knows what the fans want to see. And we always like to put a very diverse fight card on, something that, a little bit for something, for everybody. And I think this fight card is going to deliver big on Saturday night.
Yeah, there's a lot of check marks you guys hit along the way. Starting with the first fight in the main card, which, again, can be seen on DAZN, 10 p.m. Eastern start time on Saturday. Gaston Bolanos, he's a local NorCal kid. He's exciting, good-looking dude, and he's got a solid opponent in Nathan Stolen. But I think this is going to be a really, really nice, exciting fight that sets the tone for the night.
No, absolutely, and we want to set out with a fight that's going to really come out and deliver some fireworks. And Gaston's a kid that has a lot of heat on him, and he's fought all over the world for us in kickboxing and in MMA. And he's kind of in his hometown, so he kind of has the home field advantage. But at the end of the day, it's a fight. I mean, anything can happen. But we're expecting fireworks on that card. On that fight to launch the night.
Are you guys pretty transparent when it comes to letting the other camp know, hey, look, there's a bigger spotlight on Bolanos here. I mean, I don't know if you're supposed to say it or not, but a lot of fans and media can sometimes read through it. Like Bolanos, we've seen him through Lion Fight even before he became an MMA fighter. And so he came along with a lot of hype. I don't think there'd be anything wrong with admitting that, but I wanted to ask you that question because a lot of times the other party will feel like that's, hey, I'm being served up for this guy. So are you guys pretty transparent when you guys make this matchmaking? Is that discussed?
Oh, I mean, listen, you know what? I mean, when you say served up, honestly, it's like a fight is a fight, and anything can happen. And at the end of the day, if somebody gives you an opportunity to step up and fight, a guy that like Gaston, and you can knock him off, I mean, come on, that's going to increase your position in your line, and you're going to move forward much quicker. So this is like an opportunity for people to come in and take a shot at Gaston. And like I said, man, I've been in this sport too long and been, the fight been too long. Anything can happen, and in MMA, it takes one quick punch, one quick takedown, one wrong move, and you're in trouble. So, you know what? It's going to be interesting, but we're very transparent with all the matchmakers and the managers know they have an opportunity to like I said, to improve their line, improve their position, and this is their shot.
That's a perfectly worded answer. You're right. Use the right word, opportunity. Kind of like, I guess, a little bit of what Henry Corrales did. He's a little bit more well-known than Nathan Stolen is. But, Aaron Pico, there was, a lot of promise on him, and there still is. I think he's an outstanding fighter. But Henry Corrales went out there and made the most of his opportunity. So I hope the other party can see it that way as well.
Yeah, and they do. And look at, it's like, hey, I always feel like win, lose, or draw. Like, come here to Bellator, bring it, bring your A game every time, and you'll have a home. And so, to me, if he brings his A game and it's a great fight, then we'll discover the next star.
Phil Davis and Liam McGeary, 2 former champions of Bellator's light heavyweight division. What are the stakes for this fight? Now that Bader's done with the Grand Prix, it sounds to us like his next fight will be at light heavyweight. Do these guys have a feeling like, hey, at some point in 2019, I could be facing Bader, or do you guys not reveal that to the fighters in terms of what you guys are thinking?
Well, I can tell you this. Ryan Bader's next fight is going to be at the heavyweight division, and it's going to be against Chuck Congo.
Okay.
And that's going to be sometime in the summertime. We haven't penciled the exact date, but I would say late summer. We'll probably get that fight together. So Ryan's not going to be available. But this fight is a fight that I would say could be a contender fight. And you're looking at, 2 seasoned veterans, 2 guys that, had big careers in mixed martial arts at the highest level. And Liam McGeary, man, when he fought in Hawaii, he really impressed me against King Mo. And so, I think you're looking at Liam McGeary that has changed management, has changed training camps, is taking it very seriously. And I think it should be a different Liam McGeary that Phil runs into.
Scott Coker is our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. On Saturday, it's Bellator 220, McDonald versus Fitch. Coker is the president of Bellator MMA. Folks, you should watch this fight card. It's got a lot of big names, a lot of ranked fighters on it, and you can catch it on DAZN at 10 p.m. Eastern. That's 7 p.m. Pacific for the Pacific time zone. All right, Goes, what do you have for Scott Coker?
Scott, I love tournaments. I'm a big fan of those, and I wanted to know, but personally, on your side, I'm sure you have a big smile on your face when big fighters come out. They do those types of things. But whenever, the homegrown Bellator talent comes out, we'll say like an Alimale McFarlane, and she has that entrance that everybody loves, is there a different level of excitement for you because it's kind of homegrown talent? Do those feel a little different? Are they a little bit more exciting?
I tell you, that's a tough question to answer, but I love it all. And, a lot of these fighters have fought with me before I came to Bellator. So, I know a lot of these guys and girls from before. And but I will say this. Alima's entrance in Hawaii in December, we had the inaugural fight there. It was something very special, and honestly, it was like a spectacular moment, I think, in the history of MMA and in the history of Hawaii, having like a mainstream company like Bellator coming there, and it hasn't been it's been 10 years since they've had MMA at a good level there, and we was from Punahou High School and grew up there and came to San Diego, and she just it's like this organic process. So yeah. But I really, really loved her entrance, and what made it special to me was how personal it was. She designed the entrance, and she had those, the warriors, the Tahitian warriors with the Hawaiian natives, and the whole thing. It was just really spectacular because from the time that she rolled out or stepped out, and they had those baby pictures of her and her growing up, and really it touched me, where it really touched me to the point where. I started feeling a little bit emotional, and I was really happy for her that she could come back to Hawaii, live that moment, and then eventually get the victory. It was really a magic moment for her and for myself, and just the company. It was just really amazing.
Your history in combat sports. I mean, there's hardcore fans that know you from Strikeforce, and then there's some that even go back further from kickboxing. And I was wondering about whenever you have new talent coming into Bellator, okay. And they'll tell you, I'm looking at a guy, or a gal, she's a striker, Muay Thai, kickboxing, or you've also made a footprint with bringing in the wrestlers, right? People like Ed Ruth. When you hear that, I'm bringing in a wrestler or I'm bringing in a striker, which one gets you more excited? Is there one that you could point to that you could say you feel like under your leadership, whether it was Strikeforce or Bellator, that you've been able to promote maybe the wrestlers better than the strikers? How has that worked out for you?
I'll tell you, in Strikeforce, we called it Strikeforce for a reason, because we like the strikers, and we made it very clear this is not a wrestle force, and so it was named appropriately. But I after being in the sport, for such a, like, I don't know, let's say since 2006, when we first did our first fight here in San Jose, with Frank and Caesar, sometimes you sign a wrestler and he becomes a great striker. And it's really amazing me because I think that's the commitment that the athlete needs to have. You might be a great wrestler, let's say, for instance, Daniel Cormier. When I say Daniel, he had no striking ability, he had no ground game ability, but he was a great athlete. So here's this wrestler, literally could not fight other than just wrestle. But if you look at the transformation that he made over that tournament, the Strikeforce tournament, and then eventually when he fought Josh Barnett, I go, that's, now he's an MMA fighter now. He has made the decision to learn and to continue to grow his martial arts skills and to become a complete fighter. And that's what I'd love to see, a guy like, Ed Ruth, who had a tough loss against Stephen Gracie in Hawaii, but you know what? He's back and he's doing jiu-jitsu, and he's competing in jiu-jitsu tournaments, and he's competing, at a pretty high level and trying to get better and improving his skills. And sometimes you have strikers that, they might be great strikers, but, they don't want to spend the time to really go learn the submission game or really go learn the wrestling game. Then it's gonna be short-sighted because you're gonna, if you're a striker and you don't want to really learn the complete game, you're gonna be at a disadvantage because somebody's gonna be able to do both or all three. And same thing with the wrestler. You might be a great wrestler and you can take somebody down, but hey, somebody's gonna get up and then they're gonna punch you and kick you and then try to submit you. And so that's why this sport is so amazing, is that you need to have a complete game. And what I really love is that it's the athlete's commitment to continue to grow their martial arts skills and to become better, and then eventually to become a complete fighter. And that's really what I think the sport really needs.
Scott, this might sound like a silly question. I don't know yet, but when you see the success of sports teams in the Bay Area, right? Right now you got the San Jose Sharks. They're in the Game 7. The Golden State Warriors are always up on top. Do you ever feel pressure when you go to San Jose to have to put on a great card just because of the level of sports that gets played there?
You know what? I'll tell you, honestly, I think our fans in the Bay Area are a little bit spoiled. And I was talking to my guys about that earlier, is that they've seen so many great fights here and so many stacked cards here that we always have to deliver a big stacked card. And it really is not compared to basketball or hockey or football. It really comes down to, our fight fans. There's a big martial arts community here, big MMA community here, big jiu-jitsu community here, big boxing community here. And those fans, when they come out, they want to see a big card from top to bottom filled with a lot of stars. And so we always have the pressure to deliver when we have a home game like this.
What do you think about tonight's Sharks versus our Vegas Golden Knights? Game 7.
Oh boy, it's going to be a great game, man. You know what? I've been a season ticket holder for the San Jose Sharks since the very beginning. I want to say 93 or 94 when we first started, and we have yet to win the whole thing. So hopefully we can do it this year. But if we can't, then I'm going to vote for the.
All right. How about a little side bet? We're Vegas Golden Knight fans. You're Shark fans. Tonight's Game 7. The loser has to tweet from their account something nice about the winner, and the winner gets to choose what it is.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's do it.
All right. It's a bet. And last thing here, can you update us on the Roman Coliseum? Is Bellator still headed that way? Goes and I already ordered our togas. We got our passports ready to go.
You know what? We are working on that, believe me, and it's something that's quite challenging because you're working with not just the city of Rome, but you're working with the Historical Society and basically it's like 3 or 4 different departments of government that control the Coliseum. So, listen, we are still working on it. We have the right people in place. Moving forward, it will happen. It'll just be a matter of time.
Okay, that's good enough. Goes and I were lucky enough to cover Strikeforce at the Playboy Mansion. We thought, wow, the only way that one can get topped is being fed grapes, having some wine, and watching fights in a toga at the Roman Coliseum in Italy. And, of course, it sounds like you're the one that can pull it off. So best of luck with that.
We're working on it. So, when you get the call, be ready.
All right. Well, the focus is on Saturday, Bellator 220. And, Scott, we thank you very much for the time you gave us. This is an awesome card. 2 title fights, the quarterfinal Grand Prix. You got former champs battling it out for the number 1 contender in the light heavyweight division. Benson Henderson's back. Gaston Bolanos is Kid Lightning. That guy's amazing as well. So great job on the card. And I'm sure Saturday night's going to be an epic night for Bellator.
Yeah, Dan, tune in on DAZN. It's going to be amazing.
That's right. DAZN, 10 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, sir, for the time, as always.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Oh, boy. I hope our Vegas Golden Knights come through, guys.
I don't think Scott will be too brutal.
Yeah. All right. All right, guys. That's Scott Coker. Shout out to myself for lining that one up. And, of course, fist bump to Danny Brenner for helping facilitate that interview. All right. Let's get this break out of the way. When we come back, I'll kind of continue my story here about the tip. I know we have a couple people that are already chiming in. You can chime in via social media. You can hit me up at MMA Junkie George, at SiriusXM's Twitter handle, which is at MMA on SiriusXM, or call in. That's probably the easiest way. 877-FIGHT-93, 877-FIGHT, or 344-4893. We'll be right back.
All jokes aside, George and Goes are some of the best chicks I know. Here we go with more verbal sparring. Take it away, ladies.
Oh, sorry to interrupt there. Tonight at 10:30 Eastern, the Portland Trailblazers try to wrap up their first round playoff series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Hear all the excitement on NBA Radio Series 207, XM86, and streaming on your phone and at home on Sirius XM connected devices and speakers. I think the Blazers are going to just take them out. Oklahoma City Thunder's just... Dude, Russell Westbrook is such a head case, man.
Yeah, dude.
Next question.
Fighting, yeah.
Next question.
Well, he finally answered that guy.
Did he?
Yeah, but he didn't really say much.
Wow, I mean...
That's going to change next year, I think.
Yeah. All right. I'm also looking at the hate chat. I mean, the YouTube chat. If you want to chime in there on the story I mentioned earlier, which is not being taken too kindly by one of the co-stars, Juliet from Anaheim. She's arguing with me on certain points of my story, but we'll tackle that on another occasion. Johnson, Elvis was saying that he's a little leaning towards Team George, that I had every right to get my money back. Goes is saying, well, no, I might be on the other side. Josh looked like he was leaning towards my side as well. Chime in, folks, by calling in 877-FIGHT93, 877-344-93. Basically, I'll say it real quick again, just to reestablish the story. I went to a fine dining establishment. Instead of giving the guy a $5 tip, I gave him $100. When I called back, they said, the money's already been deposited, and we just don't have it, and that's it. A shrug of the shoulders, you know what I mean? Hoping that we'd say, oh, all right, well, that's that. Enjoy the money or whatever. And I don't know why that didn't sit well with me. I think 10 years ago, George probably would have said, they got me. You lose your 100. But older George, we're getting old, Johnson.
I don't blame you.
You know what I mean? We're thinking a little bit different there. That's why that key demographic. That's why all these young yahoos right here pay $3,000 for bottle service and cabanas and things like that. Like, because the money just grows on trees when you're younger. When you're a little older, you're like, holy cow, that's a lot of money. Anyway, who do we have on hold, Josh? Nick from Washington. What you got, Nick?
Guys, it's Nick Albert.
What's up, Nick? How you doing?
Nice to meet you, Nick.
Not much. You know, I think you just got to swallow this one as I'm dumb.
Yeah, I've thought about that. Can't disagree.
I think he's right.
I'm dumb.
On the ESPN front, did anyone else have trouble getting the broadcast in English?
No.
I had to log in about 3 times to get it off of Spanish with English subtitles.
Okay, I didn't have that problem, but I have had that problem before. And I felt like it got corrected because I didn't see that this time around. Before, you would click on you only had one chance. You would click it, and then from there it would ask you English or Spanish. Now I think they have them separated. Or it might be vice versa. I don't know. But I think they did address it. But I did have that problem before. I just didn't have it this time.
Well, I would look up on the little settings gimmick up there, and it would say English, but it was still in Spanish. A little bit frustrating, but I know the bugs will get worked out, and it'll be good. Hey, how about a shout-out to Alan Harmon, an old owner of the Los Angeles Express.
The football team, USFL?
Yeah, I see Elvis has a Los Angeles Express shirt on.
Yeah, Elvis is like
the king. You broke news to him, though.
The king of T-shirts.
I'm representing Steve Young.
Good catch
All
there,
right,
Nick.
thanks, guys.
All right, we'll see you.
I like the late-night shows.
All right, thank you, man. Thanks for all your support, actually, for the last 12 years. I think that's one guy that's heard every show since our existence.
Yeah.
All right, you guys want to hear my continuance here?
Yeah, he lives hanging.
So I called the next day, and I thought about this, and I go, okay, so this is what happened. And, no, here's what happened. I tried calling the restaurant, and they said, for a reservation, do this. For this, do that. So I hit what I thought was like something that would lead me to the manager, and it was a voicemail. So I go, my name's George Garcia. I'm trying to figure out what the deal is, and basically the story. All right, so by then, Juliet went. They said, sorry, the money's in the drop box. No can do. She leaves. She's mad. She heads home, and I go to bed. The next day I thought about it, and I'm trying to figure out what should I do. And I get a call from them, and what's been frustrating along the way is everyone's been passing the buck.
Okay.
Oh, well, I'm the manager for this, but I got to pass it on to the nighttime manager. Or I got to send it to the general manager. Or I'm the general manager and I got to talk to the valet because they're a separate company. So between that and the fucking Dropbox and this, that, whatever, it has been driving me nuts. And so, but honestly, you know what I wanted to do was just forget about it.
Yeah.
I wanted them to stop calling me and I was just going to forget about it and that would be that. But every time they called me and said, hey, what happened? You know, we heard or whatever. I was like, you know what? I'll tell the story because I'm in my car driving in L.A. I'll tell it again, you know. And because, again, I subscribe to, if one of you guys walked out there and found $100, you wouldn't just go, hey, look, $100. You'd go, hey, look, I found $100 out there. You get excited, man. You know what I mean? It's $100 whether you lost it and get it back or it came out of nowhere. It's still $100. So I kept telling myself that. You know what I mean? You're not a baller, George. You're not, you know, Big Daddy here with all kinds of dough. You got to do it. So I would talk to them. I'd retell the story, and they go, we'll see what we can do. And finally, I talked to a guy who said he would talk to that valet. The valet had also called me and said, hey, it really wasn't a drop box. I'll talk to the manager. After they're all trying to, like, pass the buck, finally 3 or 4 days had gone by, and I had the numbers there. And the reason I have numbers here on my recents is because I need to do something with them. Like, this is the lady that hit me today. That's the claim adjuster of the lady that hit me today. That's my State Farm agent who I need to talk about. That's a whole other story, by the way. I got hit today. All right? Everyone else's number, if it's there for a reason. That right there is the guy who took the $100. Once I solve the problem, I delete it. So I still stare at it every once in a while, and every once in a while my blood boils that they are trying to pass me off as some punk and just dismiss it or let it go or whatever. So what did I do? I hit the thing again. I go, hey, never heard back from you. We managed a few texts, and it looks like now it may come back to me.
Okay.
But again, I just want to know, is my street cred going down, or do I have my feet planted, you know, in a solid base where you all can still respect me?
It's a tough question. All right, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
I don't fault the guy that took your 100, and I'll tell you why. Without saying what it is, you drive a nice car, where I think somebody that's driving that car, you could see giving a person 100. It wouldn't be that odd. Okay.
You've been in the business. How often do you get the $100 bill? Whether it's a nice car or not.
And it's a nice restaurant. It's a really nice restaurant.
Very nice restaurant.
In a nice area.
Who did you just tell me is well known for always giving 100 and you just missed out?
I want to give props to Joe Rogan.
Right.
He's nice. I don't get him. The other day I got a tip. I got a fucking business card for Herbalife. That was my tip.
Really?
Yeah.
Herbalife?
Yeah.
He gave it to you like, hey, here you go. I got you.
If you want to make money, talk to me. And I'm like, no, I want a tip. I want, Herbalife,
Wow.
So yeah, Joe Rogan, he's throwing money around like the Joker and Jack Nicholson.
Joe Rogan's successful, right?
Yeah.
So for him, do you get these hundies pretty often?
No, not often.
No.
2 in like 20-something years, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's not that often.
But I think where he works versus where you went.
Okay, where I went. I didn't say it publicly, but you know where I went. Do you think they get 100 often?
No, not for a car. I mean,
right, and especially the setup. Do you remember it when we went to that establishment recently?
Yeah.
It's like Lombard Street driving.
You literally just pull up, and all you have to do is take one step, and you're almost sitting down for dinner. It's not like they had to run far to get it, or
no, I hear that.
There's a lot of that little game. Keep it near, keep it close by. It's just it's
but
situated.
Their clientele isn't really like Joe Schmo,
right?
So like I don't think it would be. I mean, you might go, I wasn't expecting it from this fella, but I think you would. It wouldn't be the craziest thing that happened. I think for the day.
What about this Dropbox? Does that exist?
Well, it's an outside company. That's what a lot of places are outsourcing valet. So there could be, at the end of the night, they just like throw it, but
So here's what I know.
It's some vault, like the Coca-Cola formula. Only 2 people on planet Earth know it. Nobody can call and say what's the combo or unlock this motherfucker.
It's
or
mixed to
like
the KFC recipe, I think.
At some of the establishments here, I think what happens is it doesn't really matter what you give the waitresses, because at the end of the night it just all goes into one pot, and then they take it from that. So maybe I could see a little bit on their side of going, man, I just told all the boys we made $100 and now we got to take it back. So I could see maybe where they're kind of like, let's try and drag this a little bit. I'm not hating. That's their game. As far as the lovely Juliet having to go back, yeah, I think this is where you're a little different. You're good at those situations. Like, it doesn't bother you. You can be a dick. Like, you'll go in and you'll argue, and it doesn't really bother you. I think most people are kind of like embarrassed to have to do that. So sometimes I could see why she would have to go up there and go, fuck, I don't want to do. To me, that's like an impractical joker's punishment. I got to fucking walk up there and go, hey, you're going to laugh your ass off. It wasn't even me, but believe me, okay, my brother gave you $100 bucks.
I sent
and
her
I'm
on a
standing around.
mission.
And you know that first guy you go to, he ain't going to have an answer. So he's going to go, hey, Dale, come over here and hear this. And then he's going to tell a story, and I got to stand there like a boob just sitting there while the story gets told like 100 times and knowing that there's probably not a good chance they're going to go, oh, here you go, buddy. I like that you said, hey, man, keep 20, you know, because you're kind of taking some blame, too.
I'm not sure if she relayed that to him. That was just the plan.
I don't blame you for trying.
If he would have said, oh, here's the 100, she would have went, here's the 20. And still, they still come off with a very nice tip now.
Yeah.
And by the way, what is a good tip nowadays? For gone are the days of the dollar. We know that, right?
For a car or what?
For a car.
I usually do 5 in, 5 out. That's solid.
God damn.
Jesus.
5 for parking it and 5 for bringing it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Then I'm way behind then.
Yeah, I thought it was, I thought take it is like 3 and pick up is 5.
Well, you know.
So 2 and 2, and that's an eye roll.
Yeah, 2 is
How about I didn't give you anything on the way out, but I remember you were the guy that took it. Here's a 5 on the way back.
No, I mean that's average. That's average. Yeah, that's not bad.
Wow, $10 to park the car. Okay,
all right.
That's just hey, I believe him.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So here's another thing, and this is something that I deal with personally. I grew up around a lot of racism. Okay, and so for me, in your situation, I totally understand why you went back or why I can't hate on you for trying. Okay, but I think it would have been one of those where I just take that one on the chin, and part of it is because I know that there's times where I pull up and I know they're looking at me and they're going, this beaner ain't gonna give me shit. You know what I mean? And I would hate to prove that right and have to go back and go, oh man, you know my dumb job, I need the money. Like, I think I would rather leave them. Sometimes I feel like we do things that represent our race, and I just don't want to be that guy that has to go back and go, oh dude, remember the guy that gave us 100? You were right, Jose made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't want to be that guy. Now, what shocks me is in your life, you've had blunders, right? And there's times where I think you just go, hey man, I'm dumb, live to fight another day. And I thought this might be one of the times that you would do that.
This happened 2 weeks ago, and literally in the morning I say that, and at night I'm like, fuck no, man, you know, because of the way they've acted, the pass along, you know, they just been handing batons off. Here, you say this, you say that, don't return the call, leave it alone. Maybe he'll just go away is the feeling I got. And so I finally told Juliet, I go, listen, we're about 10 days out from this shit. I go, I'm in Vegas now. I'm not even an hour drive away. I'm in Vegas now. So there's no, even if they were to go, okay, we got it, come get it. You know, I can't go back. I go, so do you mind going back? And she goes, no. I go, then I'll pursue it. Had she said, George, enough already, then I would have said, all right, and I would have left it alone. But she was my only. I can't go to Ralph because Ralph tips everyone $100. Yeah. He'd probably laugh at my ass. He'd probably go, I'll just give you the $100. Leave the kid alone.
Oh, that's the worst. So
I couldn't even go to him. Yeah.
Then you feel really dumb.
I couldn't tell Woody, Squid, and Gabe because they would just make fun of me for the next 2 weeks. So I kind of just kept it to myself, bottling up. Face was turning red. I think I mentioned it to you maybe finally.
I think Mom told me.
I didn't want to mention it to Mom because Mom for sure, you know her, she'd be like, we're driving from Vegas to make that money.
She'll spank someone.
Yeah. And oh, man. Anyway, let's hear from Eric from Colorado. He wants to chime in. What's up, Eric?
This is how you get me to call in and try to shame me. Two things, man. One, total dick move. Take that as a $100 lesson. That's probably karmically keeping you from doing something far more damaging in the near future.
Wait, dick move on his behalf or my behalf?
Say again?
Dick move on his behalf not to return it, or dick move on my behalf to insist on getting it back?
Dick move on your behalf to pursue it that far. And I'll follow it up with this. You've spent days, hours of your life working at far below minimum wage. Even if you get the $100 back, the principal is never going to be worth that much, especially by the hour. And I'll hang up on this. Whatever happened to you today is probably karmic payback for that.
Wow.
Oh, okay. I believe a lot in karma.
Thanks for the call, Eric. Jeez.
I believe in karma a lot.
He's like, and by the way, I'm sleeping with your mother.
Let me ask you this: would you ever go back to that restaurant?
I probably would wait a year just because I don't want to show my face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I would say,
I know they'd go, ain't that fool? You
then
know
I
what
would say maybe it wasn't worth it then.
Well, that said,
yeah, it's Big Ralph for his car.
well, I don't know. I kind of had a feeling right away with just what Eric said.
Mhm.
I think Nick was on my side, and I think you're already.
I don't think you're crazy. It just seems unlike you.
Juliet already told me. I think we're gonna have a problem when I get back there because I'm throwing her under the bus. She's already shown me 2 different routes to get there, and she goes, "It's not 10 minutes. It's 23 and 25."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe all this wasn't worth it. But again, it was just something about the little drop box thing.
Yeah, I've never heard that one.
Yeah.
They're saying they can't physically get in the box, or are they saying it's just kind of like
I don't know,
like a
man.
code or something?
I don't know.
But you definitely don't fault the guy that took the money, right?
No, because he didn't know. I don't think he didn't even look at it because I didn't get thank you, sir. I didn't even get that. It went straight into his pocket. We were both busy. I was trying to get our party into the car and put the leftovers over here and all that stuff. Older people.
Did each guy sympathize with you?
And then there was cars.
Like when you would tell the story, would they go, "Oh man, that sounds brutal, bud"?
Nobody gave me a genuine. They were like, "Oh wow, that's too bad," but you could tell there was that little pause, as if to say, "Do you feel like just forgetting about it?"
Okay.
But I said, "Yeah, it is too bad. What are we gonna do about it?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So supposedly I might get a Venmo or a PayPal. And we're going to be square. I did tell the guy, just send me 80. Don't send me 100. And so I'm sticking to my word there. But I don't know. You guys are right. My street cred went down. I accept that. But something just didn't sit right, man. It bugged me. What do you think, Josh?
Sometimes
You've been kind of quiet.
Moments. Man, George, I'm on your side 100%. I got no patience for any kind of questionable customer service anywhere. And I'll top one for you. I one time asked for a tip back. So I was at one of these like douchey clubs or whatever, and there's a coat check, and go down, wait on the line, give the girl a coat, reach in my pocket. All right, I got a $10 bill. So I'm like you guys. I'll leave like 2 or 3 before, 2 or 3 after at a coat check, right? I don't think that's out of line. I'm not balling, but I think that's nice. I give her the 10. I'm like, can I get change? She looks at me like, and she kind of says like, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she was like, really? I was like, yeah, can I get change? She's like, oh, usually I just get like all of it. And I was like, you could just give it back to me then. And I walked away.
What'd she say?
Wow, that was a nice little exchange there. I like that one.
What did she say when she gave you the money back? Did she say anything?
No. I saved $10.
I think I would have had some kind of snarky remark.
If you were the coat check girl, or if you were me?
I'm telling you,
the coat check girl. Here's $10. Now you can buy another one of those coats.
You get a little bit of that
makeup
feeling.
And brains, whatever.
It's probably just the we're getting older thing because I think I want to say what I'm about to say. I guess I will, but I do get the feeling that the younger generation is like let's say, hey, how much is my drink? 11, and you hand them a 20. There just seems to be this long pause as if to say, cool, who's next? Like. I'm keeping that whole 9. Like, I'm assuming it. Go through the fucking steps of going, here you go, 9 back. And let me have that baller moment where I go, bitch, why are you giving that to me? That's all you, dog. You know what I mean? Let me be the baller back to you. Now, I may just choose to go, keep 4 and I'll pocket 5. I'm not a baller, but you still get 4. I may go, here's all 9 and play the part, and you still get to keep the 9. But don't act like I have to give you the 9. Because for one, the $11 drink isn't an $11 drink. It's probably been... You remember that one time at Spear and Rhino like 20 years ago? Didn't me and you get like 2 Bud Lights and the guy goes, that'll be 24 or something like that?
Yeah, it was something crazy.
And you asked him to give you a little dance? Don't I at least get a little dance? And this was like 30 years ago. So right now it doesn't sound as bad. But 30 years ago, 2 Bud Lights for $24 was ridiculous. It's the same as right now getting 2 Bud Lights for $48.
Yeah.
That's what you would say to the guy. 48? Like, 48? And I remember him going, geez, you going to dance for me? And he did this little funny dance. But this was like 5 a.m. And Vegas, and
That's the thing, though. That's another thing that needs to be brought up is the culture of where you're at plays a big role too, right? If your establishment over there in Orange County is probably more familiar with people that live around the area that are possibly going to be coming back, I would think they would be a little bit better towards you. In Vegas, I think servers are just used to, hey man, that guy's drunk. If you don't take it, someone else will. That sort of thing. Like, it's just different.
I wouldn't have gone. I'll say this: I would not have gone back for 20 for sure, and I know I wouldn't have gone back for 50. But 100, I think I had every right to just go, well, hold on a second. I think more people would side with me personally and go, yeah, get the 100 back. Now, I wasn't going to drive back that night, and if I was going back to Vegas, I would have left it alone. But because I have a connection there, my girlfriend's right there, I figured, hey, she can just stop on by, and they're not just going to play the old drop box on me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I want you to share a couple funny stories when we come back that you told me over the years. They always crack me up. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 156. Stay close. We'll be right back.
Seemingly can't agree on anything.
Everybody knows it's duck season.
Rabbit season.
Duck season.
Rabbit season.
Whether it's food,
Less filling.
Tastes great.
Less filling.
Tastes great.
gambling,
Always bet on black.
I like red.
Black.
Red.
Black.
Red.
Black, dummy.
or even social media,
Instagram.
Snapchat.
Instagram.
Snapchat.
the same applies to the biggest stories in MMA. Time for MMA Junkie Radio's Daily Debate.
Today's hashtag daily debate question for at MMA Junkie Radio. If you could go back in time and had 50 cent money, which Grand Prix tournament winner would you award $1 million to? So by that I mean, which tournament do you look back on and go, wow, the owner deserved $1 million? If they're going to give $1 million to some of these guys that are winning tournaments now, this guy sure as hell needed one, or gal.
Mm-hmm.
Here are your choices. Royce Gracie, remember UFC 2 when he
Yeah.
went 4-0? That's one. Mauricio Shogun Rua, he took down the middleweight Grand Prix in 2005. Now, Pride's middleweight was same division as UFC's light heavyweight. Crow Cop, that was an open weight Grand Prix in 2006 that he won. Open weight. It was middleweights, light heavyweights, and heavyweights. And, of course, there's other in which you can fill in kind of like the blank. Go first, Goes.
I'm going to go other. I'm going to take you back to 1999, the Rings tournament. Here you go, Dan Henderson. Here is $1 million courtesy of 50 Cent. Because that field was insane.
Who's on that field?
Fedor Emelianenko.
Yeah.
Hanato Babaluso Brawl
Yeah.
was there. Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira was there. Gilbert Ivel was there. Jeremy Horn was there. Who am I missing? Overeem was in there. I think both Overeems were in that one. It was nuts. And he made it through. And this is not Dan Henderson that we were used to towards the end of his career, already with a lot of experience. This was kind of a green Dan Henderson.
Right, because I think he debuted in the UFC in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a good one. I'm going to stick with the format here. You got one, Johnson? You sitting it out?
I would go with Philo Beto when he fought Denver's Tank Murdoch in 1978 bare knuckle championships. That was a good
That's
fight.
a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good one. All right, so he's going with other as well. I'm sticking with Shogun, the 2005 Pride Middleweight Grand Prix. Look at these names. This was the opening round. Well, okay. Vanderlei Silva against Hideko Yoshida. Mauricio Rua. His first round was Quinton Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Kazushi Sakuraba was in it. Rogerio Nogueira was in it. Dan Henderson was in it. Alistair Overeem was in it. Vitor Belfort. Igor Vovchanchyn. Do I keep going or what? Ricardo Arona. Oh, man, if you guys only knew who that guy was. He never came over to UFC, but he was a beast. He was the one that ended Vanderlei's run of 20 fights with no losses. Kazuhiro Nakamura, Kevin Randleman, the late Kevin Randleman, decorated grappler. Dean Lister was on the card. In the second round, he had to go through Rogerio Nogueira. In the third round, he defeated Alistair Overeem. And then in the finals, he defeated Ricardo Arona. So that was like a who's who. That's a middle murderer's row. Now, yours had an open weight facet to it.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan Henderson we all regard him as a middleweight. He was fighting, heavyweight. So much respect. Dan Henderson was one of my favorite fighters of all time.
Mine was more staggered than yours as well.
This guy had those names, man, that he had to go through. That was something else.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but on yours, semifinals and finals were done on the same night, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and I think one of those did kind of benefit Shogun a little bit. It was Pride, and we're looking at the tournament bracket now.
He
but I don't
TKO'd
believe
Quinton.
it looked like that all the time.
He TKO'd Alistair, and he KO'd Arona. The only one he got by on a decision was Rogerio Nogueira, which many said
that's one of my favorite
close.
all-time fights.
Yeah. Look, I don't think there was really a losing answer. They were all just great answers.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks to Junkie Nation, the readers of the site, and the listeners of the show for participating. This is how the voting broke down. 40% agreed with neither one of us. They took Gracie. He went 4-0 at UFC 2. 4 fights in one night.
Yeah.
And he was kind of in an open weight setting as well. 29% went to Crow Cop, the open weight Grand Prix. In third place was Shogun with the 2005 middleweight Grand Prix, 25%. And other came up with 5%. All right. We were talking about my tipping story there. And my man Elvis has been in that world for many years. Share the story of how you became pals with Mick Foley from WWE.
It was 99 Royal Rumble was at the Anaheim Pond, and that's when Foley just became heavyweight champ for the first time. A couple weeks before that, I was on break or downstairs or something when he checked in, and you're like, you're not gonna believe who you just missed. And he was with his wife and just 2 kids at the time. So I called his room, just wanted to meet him. Kind of a rhetorical question. It was like, anything I can do for your stay, sir? And he called my bluff and said, yeah, can I get a 12-pack of Bud Light and a bucket of KFC? And I go, fuck. Had to go downstairs with the manager, explain, you have to take the company Cadillac and go on a fucking food
I
ride.
thought you just would have went on your own. You actually had to go through. All right.
Yeah, because, they know where you're at and stuff. So I come up with this, and I had some plushes and T-shirts for the kids and stuff. He had the belt, I was, like, looking at it and stuff. And me and Goes and George had tickets already, and I said, hey, can we get back?
Wait. So that little interaction went well. He thanked you.
Yeah.
And then after that, you saw him a few times, right?
Yeah, throughout his stay, and got it on a first-name basis and stuff.
So we went to the Royal Rumble, and he never told us about this.
Mm-mm.
So
George used to work at the pond, so he knew the inner workings of the tunnel system to get in and out and stuff.
That's how we had the incident, because we talked recently about The Undertaker and seeing Owen Hart and all those names, Stone Cold, and
Jerry the King Lawler,
the coffin match, all that. That's how it happened, because I knew the ways, the ins and outs. But on this occasion, I take the guys down there, and just as we're walking back, all of a sudden, go ahead.
We walked through the...
Oh, no, let Goes tell it.
All right. Wow. There was about 7 of us, I think, but we broke off, him and I. And only because I think one of us said, hey, look, it's Stone Cold or something like that, right? So we went off into a little room, and as we're getting close to whoever it was that we wanted to take a picture with, Mick Foley comes out of nowhere and goes, Elvis! And gives him a big hug, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And they're chatting, going back and forth.
Like best friends, long lost.
Best friends.
Yeah.
And then just as that's going on, The Rock comes and completely interrupts our conversation and starts talking to Mankind, and he starts apologizing to Mankind because he said, hey, man, I'm sorry about all them chair shots. He gave him, I think, 21,
right? Yeah.
21 chair shots. And he told him, he goes, oh, man, he goes, really? He goes, I didn't know any of this. Literally just happened. And he goes, you knocked me out after the second one. And he goes, I had no idea any of the other ones happened. And what we didn't know, well, we kind of knew, they were filming Wrestling with Shadows, and they were behind, they were right in front of us. So that conversation that you see in the movie, we were standing right there for that. And we kind of blew off that guy because we thought he was like a university
Wasn't it called Beyond the Mat?
Beyond the Mat, yeah. Wrestling with Shadows is the screw job thing with Bret Hart.
Yeah, so there you have it. What have been some of the best stiff jobs by anybody?
Oh, you want me to throw people like famous people under the bus, or what?
No, I'd rather you not do that. Just
when people say,
what are the dumb things that they tell you? Like, I got the Dropbox version.
My wife has my wallet. That's a good one.
What do you? There's nothing for that one.
Like,
right?
why would you're a husband? Why would you not have your wallet? My wife has it.
But when they've said I only got 100, you always produce the change.
I always, if you need change, I always carry $100 in change on me. So yeah.
Has that ever worked? Where they go, oh, okay, and then they have to do
you
it?
call their bluff.
Okay.
And they. But sometimes they're like, can I get 98 back? And you're like, keep it, and you walk away, or
Oh, you have said that?
Oh, I've said that. Yeah.
Oh wow, I thought you had to be a little more proper.
I'm getting salty in my old age,
Keep it. That's a nice one. Okay. All right. Well, that's our show for today. I want to thank Scott Coker for his time. Bellator 220 on DAZN on Saturday. Check it out. 2 title fights, including Rory McDonald defending against John Fitch. We also have Elimele McFarland against Vita Arteaga. Hey, hit me up on the tip story if you want. Let me know at MMA Junkie George via Twitter. I think it's probably the best way. Or get a hold of me. Tell me what you think. Team George or Team the other guy. We're out of here. Thanks to Josh for another fine producing job that he did. Goes and Johnson, and I'm George, and we're out of here. Be champions.